one who can talk better about these kinds of situations than the journalists themselves. And Robert Dreyfuss is an independent journalist who for more than 15 years has worked as an independent journalist specializing in magazine features, profiles, investigative stories, and in the areas of politics and national security especially. In 2001, he was profiled as a leading investigative journalist by the Columbia Journalism Review, and 2 of his articles have won awards from the Washington Monthly. Dreyfuss's stories on the privatization of Social Security and the politics of Medicare and Medi-Cal savings accounts have been also widely cited. He's a member of the American Society of Journalists and Authors and Investigative Reporters and Editors, and he is a graduate of Columbia University. We are very happy to have you here with us tonight. Please help me welcome.
Hi everyone. It's a great pleasure and honor to be here tonight. I'm here in part to, I guess, give you a little sense of my time in Iran. I've been following Iran really off and on for more than 30 years, but I've been there a couple of times. I want to talk about that a little bit in the brief minutes that I have tonight. And I wanted to start, I guess, by going back to June 16th of last year when I was at the airport in Tehran waiting for my flight to Dubai and ran into someone whose name I can't mention for security reasons, who a few days before had been, he was a senior aide to one of the presidential candidates last June, and I ran into him at the airport. We were boarding the same plane for Dubai, and only a few days before we'd been sitting in a hotel lobby in downtown Tehran talking about the election, and now he was fleeing the country, and he said, I have to get out. They have a list, and they're going down the list person by person and arresting them. And personally, I felt very, not only sad, but guilty as I was leaving, because I knew that I could come home to, my warm house in Virginia, but I was leaving behind all these people that I'd met. I had spent the previous 2 weeks before the election doing reporting there. The first time that I went to Iran was in March of 2008, just before the parliamentary elections of that year. And I traveled around the country. I visited not just Tehran, but Kashan and Shiraz and Isfahan and Qom and some other smaller towns. And the mood in the country was what you might expect, depressed and cynical, and people were, very, unhappy about their prospects, including the election, and they felt let down by Khatami, who they felt, didn't accomplish in his 8 years what he tried to accomplish, and they were very cynical about politics. And the debate then was, should we just stay home and protest by not voting at all, or should we go vote for, the least evil? And as you know, the Guardian Council, which had been expanded from this little group in Tehran to a quite significant, massive bureaucracy with offices in every province that was vetting candidates and, going around and talking to neighbors, and does this guy pray enough, and does he dress conservatively enough, and does he subscribe to all the Islamic principles before they would allow him to run? And you know the story, if you didn't meet the Guardian Council's criteria, which were not published then, and you had no appeal, you couldn't run. And so people were saying, well, should we even bother voting? So when I flew back into Tehran at the beginning of June last year, I expected to find that same kind of mood. And I got in, by the time I got through customs, it was about midnight as I got into Tehran and into downtown Tehran. And I was astonished. The streets were ablaze with light. and people and cars and trucks riding up and down the boulevards, honking their horns, waving banners from the cars, pictures of their candidates they were holding up. And I turned to this older man who was with me, I guess he was about 70 years old, and I said, "This doesn't look like the Tehran that I remember from last year." And he said, "No, this is something new." And indeed, it was something new. And I'm sure you all could, explain why, in your own experiences, why things had changed in that year.